Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for another of Charts-free webinars. Today we have Bobby Underwood, and she's going to be presenting on Microsoft Teams.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I am very excited to be here. She already told you my name, so I'll tell you what I do. I am the Director of Training at Little Caesar Enterprises, and I've got kind of like a wild history with Little Caesars. It's been 20 years, actually 20 years as of April 7th, I believe. So they've always kept things exciting. They've always kept the growth available. And with growth comes cool opportunities. Like, for example, what we're here today to talk about, which is Microsoft Teams. My team would be like, oh my God, of course you're talking about Microsoft Teams again, because they are just like through the roof when it comes to Microsoft Teams. Excited, right? So we're pretty much, in my opinion, Microsoft Teams is the one application to rule them all. Get it? Get it? Like the ring? Okay. If you don't get it, we're going to have a hard time here with this entire presentation. But if you do get it, we're going to be best friends. So let's get into it. Microsoft Teams is like a crazy wild adventure. It doesn't matter if you had it for a while and maybe you got it just a couple weeks ago and you're like, holy moly, I really need to figure this thing out. In my opinion, with Teams, nope, scratch that. With life, there are can't people and then there are won't people. The people that can't, maybe they don't have the skills yet, or nobody's just invested in the time to train them on something. But the won't people, those are ones that are like, no thanks, no, that's good. I've got some won't people, I've got some can't people, and I'm guessing if you're on this call right now that you're probably, well, maybe you're a can't and you're looking to learn, or maybe you're like a professional and you're like, I can't wait to school this girl after the webinar, which is totally fine, because I am down to learn and down to grow. Now, if you're managing a team or you yourself are looking into diving into Microsoft Teams, the thing is, you're going to have to be patient, because every step of Microsoft Teams or any application is going to take time. However, I do think that we've done a fabulous job of putting together some easy things that you can implement like very, very quickly with Microsoft Teams that we're going to go over today. So just a heads up, I don't know if you've already caught on to this, but this is going to be very fast paced. They're like, hey, we're going to do this webinar. We're going to talk about Microsoft Teams. We're only giving you an hour. I could talk about this all day. And just a heads up, I have only had coffee today, so buckle up. Fast paced, weird stuff. I put some quirky things in here because I am a huge advocate that it doesn't matter what training you're doing, technical training being the hardest. If you put things that are fun or silly, it does increase retention. And you can look it up, Google it, okay? It's fantastic. So plenty of weird stuff in here. If you don't learn anything, I promise to make you laugh, maybe a half a laugh one time. Gotta keep the bar low so I exceed your expectations. Now, because it will be fast-paced, what we've done is a colleague of mine, Kimberly Chambers, and we put together a training guide. So everything that I showcase in this Teams presentation is in that training guide, and a link to that training guide will be provided to you in the chat. So if you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck did she say about Starbucks? I don't even know. That class was like a whirlwind. Don't worry, woosah, you will have access to all of that. So what I would like you to do is in the chat, I'd like you to put whether or not you feel your proficiency with Microsoft Teams is on the low end, the medium end, or the high end. And this will kind of help me gauge the room and just kind of see where everybody's at. Maybe I'll tailor a few things more specifically. So go ahead, take a couple seconds and type that in the chat for me. All right, I think they're coming in, so we'll keep on going. Well, here's the deal. Actually, you know what? I want to share something really quick. In my opinion, Microsoft Teams, like only using it for chat or like texting, that is like only using your cell phone to text people. That to me is super crazy. One of you on this call more than likely has a cell phone. If you have a flip phone, we'll talk after, but you have a cell phone. You put buckets of money into having this cell phone, and here you have like ultimate cosmic power in this little bitty cell phone space. And if you're just texting, my grandma does that. She only uses it for texting. Occasionally she'll feel like really zesty and I'll get like an emoji. I've never gotten a GIF yet, but when that day comes, I am going to celebrate. I'll take her out to dinner. But I don't want you to be like my grandma when it comes to Microsoft Teams. I want you to hear and see and get excited about all of the features. Now, to gear up with Microsoft Teams, the best thing in my opinion, especially because I'm like an activator type personality. I'm like, go, 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 let's get it done. So being able to be connected and connected to my collaborative space or the environments that I've created, which I'll showcase to you in a little bit, that is really important to me. So I love the fact that I can go from being in a meeting right on my desktop, and maybe it's like an information dump meeting, and I'm like, I'm gonna need more coffee for this. I really wish I could go downstairs and just like pop a Keurig. You can, you totally can, okay? Turn off your camera, maybe you're already off camera. And I can go to my phone, open up Microsoft Teams. It knows that I'm already on the meeting and it'll prompt me to swap over to this device. I say yes. It does let you confirm if your video and audio are still off or not. Very nice. And then once I've switched over, boom, here's my information dump meeting. I can head downstairs, pop in that Keurig. I'm still an active participant in the meeting. I'm getting my caffeine fix, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. Come back upstairs, swap it back to my desktop, and it's like a win-win all around. So I love that. And I also love that much of what we talk about today are things that you can maximize on your cell phone, tablet, or on your desktop. So to kick it into high gear, again, we're just like all excitement today. And I'm going to laugh at every one of my own jokes because I can't help myself. We're going to talk about chat and collaboration. Now, everybody knows how to chat. For the most part, the user interface with Microsoft Teams is very similar to many, 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 many other apps. But how you can like organize and tidy up to make yourself more efficient and effective, you and your team, I think that that's really great. So some of the things that I've seen are like multi-unit or hierarchical chats. You can make group chats. So for example, let's say I want to chat with just the VPs and training. I can make a chat with that, give it a cool tag name, and then I'm good to go. I have that entire group in there. What I've also seen is we've got multi-unit operators, or maybe you have multiple hotels and you're like, you know what? I want the hotels or the restaurants in my region to be part of a chat so we can connect, show support to each other, showcase audits, share documents, whatever you want to do. You can put them all in a group, title them as such, and then you have it. Not only that, but if you click on the 3 dots next to the chat, you can click to pin it to the top. This is very helpful to me because I'm a talkative person, shock and awe. So I need to know where like the main people are that I'm going to communicate with on a regular basis. And I want that to be easily accessible. So I'm not like swiping through all of the different chats to try to find, one person. So pinning to the top, very helpful. I also really like Microsoft Teams gives you yourself. I know, sounds weird. You can message yourself. I love this feature. Maybe I'm waking up from a vivid dream and a cold sweat in the middle of the night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this crazy, awesome idea. I'm going to text myself on Microsoft Teams. And what's cool is I go back to sleep. The next morning, I see a chat to myself marked as unread. And I don't know about all of you, but one of the things that I do, a regular cadence for myself is like, if it's unread, it requires action. So then I open up Teams and I'm like, oh, I got to activate on my own idea. Most of the time it's, I'm glad I put that there because I almost forgot. So I really love the self chat. Not only that, but finding things and filtering through things in Microsoft Teams is like Google level awesome. It is so perfect. If I'm like, you know what? I know I use the word purple. I know I use the word purple in this document. I said it like 2 days ago. Was it a Teams channel? Was it a chat? Was that my team? Or did I send that right to Veronica? Who the heck did I send that to? Doesn't matter. Type the word purple on the top of Teams in the little search area, and it's going to give you any message that you type, included the word purple, any document that had the word purple in it, and you'll be able to like filter very seamlessly. And if you want to get even better or even deeper into this for like finding things, so this QR code, for those of you who haven't yet, you are welcome to scan it and navigate to it. This is kind of a little sample of the training guide that we put together because we were trying to think, what is the easiest way to share all of these different spaces that we explored for the training guide into one document? So of course, we did what the entire universe is doing right now. We use the QR code. So this QR code takes you to a training that will talk about commands. However, if you happen to have Microsoft Teams up right now, all you need to do, and oh my gosh, I'm at my computer, so I could just show you. All you need to do is click \. Everything now on the screen is a command. So let's say I'm like, oh, you know what? I know I shared that document with Monique. I don't know when, well, no, it was like 2 days ago. You know what? I know I shared it with her. Let me go ahead. I'm going to type in Monique. I got her pulled up. This will give me the activity between Monique and I for the last however long in chronological order. So I can see like, oh, yesterday she shared her recap with me. Ah, perfect. There's the document. We're good to go. So this command is like super helpful. I'm not going to go through all of them today, but I am very excited for you to just \, and then click, like just explore what's going on in there. Now, chat and collaboration is pretty easy in my opinion. You go in, you type your message down on the bottom, and I got to tell you, I'm getting old. So my eyes are not the best, and like the brightness that is the daily life of me standing at this desk gets a little crazy. So I would like to turn on dark mode. Dark mode is also the first tip on that training guide that we put together for you. So if you're like, how to do that too, you can. Now I mentioned making it fun. So let's get a dark side GIF, which I think you know where I'm going with this. And oh, it's perfect. All right, I'm going to send this over to my assistants. I hope they're on right now because I really kind of need their help because I can't do this while I'm presenting. Oh, look, they hearted it. Yay. Okay, good. We're going to the dark side and boom, here we go. So that is much helpful. Much helpful. Very helpful. It's fine. It's my first day. So Kimberly said we should probably get the other 9 rolling. Yes. Man, I'm so glad you're here. You are a valuable member of this team. Let's go ahead and get into the next thing. So video and audio. Now, for the most part, more than likely, we're all adults on this call. If you're not an adult, congratulations, because you are exceeding expectations for your age group. However, as adults, I think we can kind of narrow down the fact that if you open up a chat with somebody and you look at the top right-hand side of that chat, the camera is probably a video call. The phone is probably an audio call. So this is pretty cut and dry, but you know what? I want to see what Kimberly's up to. Let's go ahead and give her a call just to like get the experience out there. I wonder what she's doing today. Oh, there we go. Kimberly. Oh, hello. Okay. Oh,
hello. Oh no.
Well, all right, let's get out of here. And that's fine. That was weird. It's just a professional webinar. No big. Let's never speak of that again. I agree. So moving on. With video, cool options might be to blur your background. Maybe don't be in the bathroom if you're answering a call, or double check that your video is off if you happen to be in the bathroom answering a call. But I think more importantly, just don't do it. Blur your background or turn on a cool background. I have this one of a Little Caesars store behind me, and I love that one because then I look like this happy cashier, this front counter greeter, and it's like, yeah. So that one's a good one for me. Also, more recently, Microsoft Teams has added Snapchat filters in. No joke. So if you're like, maybe I wake up and I'm like, you know what? I feel kind of like a trash bag today. I'm going to turn on one of the makeup filters. You can totally go for it. It's an option in your your video settings when you first join a meeting. Very, very cool. Just heads up though, anybody, the makeup filter and the dog ear filter are right next to each other. So save yourself some embarrassment. Not that it's happened to me more than once. And just double check that. It's fine. It's no big deal. Another cool thing is, let's say you're like, oh, I mentioned I'm getting old. You're like, oh man, I got like super wrinkles today. I wish there was a way I could soften my features. You can go to your device, your account settings, then devices, then scroll all the way to the bottom. There's this little bar for soft.
Okay, it looks like Bobby has frozen. Give me a minute to see if she can come back. Okay, Bobby, you are back.
I am back and I was on a rant. All right,
Thank
perfect.
you for logging in back in so quickly. Okay, share your screen again. And I would say well, you might need to turn off your camera if that's going to happen again.
Okay, we'll give it one more shot. If it does,
we'll give it one more shot.
Okay, so just a heads up, I'm going to repeat a little bit because I don't know where I disconnected. However, we're talking about calendar integration. And one of the things with calendar integration is the difference between like, okay, well, I have my Outlook calendar, but then I have my Microsoft Teams calendar. Like, what's the deal here? So with Outlook, you can make any kind of meeting. It's like super meeting invitation center. Whereas inside Microsoft Teams, it's got less features than Outlook and it's specifically for Teams meetings. But what's cool is they're one and the same. If you make a meeting in Microsoft Teams, it's going to be in your Outlook calendar. If you make it in Outlook, it's going to be in your Teams calendar. Whether or not it's a Teams meeting is one of the things that it sometimes causes a little bit of a hang up. So for example, if you're in Microsoft Teams and you make the meeting, it will default as a Teams meeting. Whereas if you're in Outlook, you have to click the button to make it a Teams meeting. But more importantly, what I like to do is we've got so many projects happening all the time. Like there's always something going on, always like we're just busy bees. So I love the ability to tag a person directly in a meeting. So obviously I can put down, Kimberly and I were working on this huge important project. I'm going to add her. And I'm going to add her, and that is going to put it on her calendar. I'm not even going to call it Teams calendar, Outlook calendar. It's one and the same. It's going to put it on her calendar. However, because we have this project going on with a bunch of different people, like we've got maybe 30 people on a Teams channel that we're doing something regarding this together. I like to be able to showcase progress on a Teams channel. So you can directly tag a Teams channel in your invitation. Love this. So not only does it post it on the Teams channel for everybody to see, but only Kimberly has it on her main calendar. However, let's say we've got somebody who's like, hey, I wanted an update on this. I saw that the meeting was going on when I came to the Teams channel. I wanted to hop in. Can I, borrow a few minutes just to talk out these few things for the project? Yes, you can. So this meeting is now posted in the channel for anybody and everybody who's part of the channel to see and participate in if they want, but the only required person to join the meeting is Kimberly. Not only do I get that on the channel, so maybe there's leadership or myself, we're following up, we want to be able to see the progress on different aspects of this project. I can see the progress based on the meetings that are tagged in this channel, which is super helpful. But also all of the meetings, you get anything that happened within the chat for that meeting tagged in the channel as well. So if we're building a document for this meeting, you can see here, Monique shared the document that we were discussing, and now I have it in the channel, which is perfect. I get an attendance report. Any of the questions that were asked throughout the meeting, those are in the chat here. So you can even use it for like follow-up and just, helping and supporting the project in different ways. So I really, really like that. Don't ask me why, but I was put on this, one of the dev teams groups, and I noticed that they have a project pairing that they do. So like this meeting here, they've been going for like 4 hours. They're still meeting today. They're not, but it's kind of neat because as they need people, they tag people in to do different aspects of the project. I have also seen this used to build out classroom environments. So then the meeting invitations are the classroom because it's like a video Teams meeting where we can all join and have a good time. And then the participants, maybe internal or external, get invited to that meeting and then they can just join. And everything that was tied to that meeting is now on the channel. So it's really cool for being able to just like track and see, engage progress. Now, next up, I want to talk about document collaboration because we kind of sampled it a little bit, but there are a lot of cool things you can do with document collaboration. So to better paint a picture for you, I kind of need to explain wild team. So We are the GOATs. I did not come up with this. The team had this before I got there, and I would have been a vicious tyrant to kill it when I got promoted. There's no way I was going to kill it, by the way. It's so clever. So they're the GOATs. It stands for Greatest Operations and Technical Trainers, because I have a really wild group. So we do company operations training. We also are like global software training, and we also help with training for non-traditional locations, the exciting wild ones that we're playing with. So all of those different facets of the group that I have, I mean, we need to be able to share and get organized in a lot of different ways. And document collaboration makes it so nice and easy. So this, in my opinion, was like the perfect screenshot because I think it samples a bunch of different things. So up here, I mentioned tag your meetings in your team channel. Well, quarterly, my manager of the global software training team and I, Marcel, he's amazing. We'll put together a professional development day for the team. So just like leveling up their skills, what can we do for them? And like, we'll do like hands-on activities and whatnot. And it doesn't matter if it's hands-on or virtual activities. We'll take pictures or we'll have them posted in the chat. And then you can see like, we've got 17 replies on this meeting. That's everything we discussed during the meeting, all the documents that we shared. It's awesome. And boom, it's right there. Additionally, what you can do for document sharing, you see here, this looks like a forward. It's a forward of an email. So a sneaky cool thing inside your Teams channels that you have access to is get email addresses. You can right click on any of the Teams channels, get an email address for that Teams channel, and then from your Outlook, you can forward emails to that Teams channel. So you can see here, oh yeah, we're doing parking process change. So I wanted to let the team know that, you know, something was changing regarding the process. It puts the email in the Teams page, but they can tag me or anybody. They can ask questions. You can see here, there's like 8 replies from the team. And none of this gets sent back to HR who originally sent the email. Like this is just my group chatting about the parking process change so that they can get an update. So it's really nice because it's separate, but it's collaborative and it's as simple as forwarding an email. And now down here, you can see Marcel added a tab to the top of this channel. So I like tabbing documents on top, like, because there's some things that we use all the time that need to be like front and center. So we've got like our project tab, our 2023 calendar, our 2023 class offerings, our feedback form tracking. So like the big things that we need to pay attention to, you know, more religiously, those are up there. I can tell you, I've been a part of many teams where it's just like, you got 22 things up there. Like, what am I supposed to be looking at? Like, why are they all there? So less is more. We learned that, maybe some of us, but if you didn't, please take that away from today. But what's nice is, so Marcel added a tab on the top of here. And one of the options that he could choose was you could click a check mark to post it into the chat. So now, or post it into the channel. So now everybody on the channel can see that he added a tab. So it kind of like spotlights it. And in the reply, sometimes we'll post documents and it'll be like, hey, here's how you use this. Here's what you can do with it. Have a great day. So this is a really nice way to share documents. Another cool feature is linking and sending to email. So maybe you know this, maybe you don't know, but I love live documents. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well-trained people using a live document, whew, that is so effective. So when you want to share a live document, for the most part, most of the Microsoft applications like Word, Excel, Power, if you click on that share button right there, it'll open up a prompt where up on the top, you can type somebody's name within your domain and share it with them, or type in somebody's email outside of your domain and share it with them. Or you can create a link that you can just send a message about, post in a channel about, whatever you want to do. I love the link sharing. It's so, so helpful. The only condition with the link sharing is, you see this little pencil with a slash through it? If I send you it with a slash through it, that means I'm not allowing you to edit. It's not a live document. It is just there for your viewing pleasure. So if you're going to make a link and you're like, I want to collaborate, Tara, you're going to start from page 4. I'm going to start from page 1. Never collaborate in the same space on a live document. It just creates a little bit of chaos. But if you start on different areas, easy peasy, and then we'll work it all. Well, we could do that together on this document. Love it. Next up, screen sharing. So this to me is like, we're just not maximized on this. My Oh, it says my internet connection is unstable, so I hope you can still hear me, and I'm turning off my video just in case. Maybe I'm turning off my video.
We can still hear you fine, but I will.
All right. I don't know how to turn it off. If this was a Teams meeting, you better believe I would just knock this out of the park.
I just turned you off.
Yay, this is nice. What a good team we are. All right. Anyways, Kimberly, you're interrupting. We got to, okay, she says she needs help with a document really quick. And it's a link. You know what? That's probably fitting. Let's go ahead and check it out. Yeah. Oh, you do that? For any of you that throughout the pandemic maybe got a little trauma from the Teams call and you want a more fun option, in your call settings, in your core settings, you can change it. And one of the features, if you scroll all the way down, it says the call title is remix, and then it's this cool techno Teams remix, no trauma at all, and it's much more fun to hear. So that's an option. Let's go ahead and see what Kimberly needs. Hello, Kimberly. Okay, sharing your screen. All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna request control really quick because I wanna be able to click it. So let me go ahead and take control. Kimberly, on your side, it's going to ask you to approve it. All right, it looks like I have control, and it's this very important image. All right, let's click it. We don't have time for this. What are you doing to me? What are you doing? You just getting a laughing? Jeez, we're professionals. So when it comes to screen sharing, obviously sharing with audio is beneficial. Sharing with audio is beneficial on a webinar like this, even in Zoom. But one of the cool things with the screen sharing is I know that there's a lot of companies out there that pay big bucks just to have like the ability to log in remotely to a device. If you have another computer with Microsoft Teams on it, or another person who has access to a web browser, you can invite them into a Teams space, a Teams meeting, internally or externally from your domain, and share screens. Now, this has some conditions, like for example, we've played with, like, we've got the big license where we got all of the things, but if you have like a Microsoft F3 license, that license is restricted down to utilizing the Microsoft applications via the web browser. I have noticed that sharing, requesting control doesn't work, but what does work is sharing their screen. So like we've got area supervisors that have like daily follow-up routines. And one of the new follow-up routines that we've implemented is like, hey, if you see the store struggling with this thing, you can put them on a Teams call, give them a ring, they can share their screen, and then you can coach that person through what process to follow to knock it out of the park. And that has been tremendously beneficial. So next up is one of my favorites. If I get disconnected during this part, I'm gonna be so sad because this is like the coup de grace. I don't even know if that's the right term, but we're getting into this customizable workspaces. I mentioned in the beginning of this webinar that I'm big on, like, we created an environment, and that's what your Teams channel should be. It shouldn't just be like, well, every single project we're working on, we're going to make a whole new Teams page. Like, no, make one Teams channel, give it all your different projects. If the affiliated audience that's participating in creating the content is like one thing, and then just like add them to the environment, give it some intent, because I'm sure that we've all been added to 467 different Teams pages. So that's definitely one of the things that I would take from this. But as for customizable workspaces, I mentioned I got like a really dynamic team. So I'm really proud of how we utilize our GOAT channel. So you can see here, I've got a general channel. Every team comes default with a general channel. My company ops team has their own space for like their files, their calendars, things that are relevant to them. We've got a CV training emails page. Now this, I love this. So when I first took over, one of the obstacles is kind of an obstacle, just put it like opportunity, whatever. In the emails that we would manage, we had an inbox for Caesar Vision training, IT training, and my small team was supposed to manage the influx of these emails all across the country. So we're just like coming and coming and coming. Being able to like cross train and then like coach on those emails was very difficult inside of Outlook. So what we did was we set up all of the emails that go to that inbox that we manage to get forwarded to the email for this channel. So this has been super nice because in the beginning, I mean, when we were starting to utilize this, like we had some new colleagues. So maybe it's something where like our new guy, Jack, had a question. He's like, you know what? It's my turn to answer, this email because we started kind of like a rotation. I'm not sure how to handle it. He could go at Jake, hey, can you help me with this? And then Jake could chime in and be like, yeah, absolutely. Here we go. Because Jake's always super helpful and also on the call. So like this was really, really good. So then not only were the emails like transparent in our environment, but we're able to connect and collaborate and tag people in to create a good rotation for like everybody's part of responsibility of managing this inbox, not just like the one person we had at the time. So very helpful. And then we got our little ghost kitchens or, non-traditional locations. And then my IT team also has their own page that they can do what they want with. So it's just nice to be able to like, it's separate, but it's equal because it's all inside the GOAT page. Now, next up for customizable workspaces, I did tell you that I would walk you through some of the bigger things that I maximize on when it comes to the tabs on top. The number one thing that I use to help just manage the scope of everything happening with the team is called Microsoft Tasks. So I have that up on top here titled as project because you can rename any of the tabs whatever you want. So we've got projects. Microsoft Tasks is amazing. I could probably do a whole nother 1 hour webinar just on tasks alone, but we use this for anything and everything. I mean, I've got the ops classes organized, the IT projects, the ops projects, the IT classes, zone support. And what's cool is we make this planner task, it used to be called planner. We make tasks part of our regular cadence for follow-up. So once a month, we do a team meeting. And in that team meeting, we will just filter. So like up here, you can filter by assigned to, and that's super helpful. So I'll have like Gino share his screen. I'll be like, all right, filter by you. Let's go through your buckets is what we call them. And, you just get updates on everything and then change the dates. So buckets, these are really cool because you can set due dates. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I don't want a due date for like, oh, this is when we're going to push it out nationally. No, I'll set the due date and we set the due date for the next action item. So that way we're continuously following up on the traction that we're getting so that we get to the results and like no matter what, which has been really nice. So group meetings, I will filter it by late this week, next week, and just go over like what are the tasks that we need to talk about that are within the next 2 weeks. Because if we did every single bucket, we would be there. We'd be there for 2 days. It's crazy. However, when we do one-on-ones, I'll sit down with Monique, and I'll be like, all right, let's filter by assigned to. Let's go through every one of your buckets, make sure that I'm supporting you, and we'll add comments to the buckets. And just, it's the best place, in my opinion, to be able to showcase traction. I can tell you, I'm a huge fan of remote work. And one of the most important aspects of being a director and being remote and having majority, like a good chunk of my team remote, is having a digital defendable scope of work. And this is it. This is my digital defendable scope of work, and it's wonderful. Not only that, but another cool integration that you can use, Power BI. So we've got like a training BI that we put together. We host this on our Big Orange. So Big Orange is like, I don't know, we got like 200 people in all of our, company-owned locations. It's just the leadership that's in here. And I have trainers all over the country. So I want to showcase the training success to those trainers. I blurred it out. Okay, you can't see the details. But this is another feature that I put on top of there that we update so that they have access within the environment that we created for them to all of the training, stats that they're accomplishing. This one I'm very proud of. So this was a team effort. We had quite a few people from franchise services helping with this, but what we did during the pandemic was, it was like, listen, we need to onboard new franchisees. Like that happened. We've got so many people so excited to, open up stores. How can we make digitally, virtually, just figure it out. So we made Teams the environment for the classroom. So we would invite the franchisees, new franchisees, into their 8-week training program. And then in that 8-week training program, their environment was on Microsoft Teams. So they would get links to the classrooms where they would be able to be, have facilitation and like live instruction. We would make posts, and up here, these posts are really cool. They've got what I call banners, and they look fancy. Like, oh, wow, how did you make your post so snazzy? There's a little carrot like on the top left-hand side of when you make a post inside Teams, and you can click. Instead of just like making a normal post, you can make an announcement, and it gives you like a cool space where you can add a picture. So we would make these fun banners. We would pre-format these messages, and then like we had so many classrooms that if you were part of this 8-week session, this is the only channel you had access to. Maybe you went to Houston for the next session, then you only had access to that Houston session. And what, oh, you know what? Let me tell you what the banner says. So, because I don't want anybody fixated on that and be like, I'm sorry, you showed me that we can make like really cool, like marketing advertisements. You're not going to show me how. This is very simple. So I would make them in PowerPoint, and I would just like make them all cute. And then I'd use the snipping tool to make it a rectangle. And I got a whole folder of different banners that I've made. And then those are the banners for like the things that we post. Now, to make this environment for the franchisees even more exciting, we every Teams page has access to Sharepoint. And again, it's not like full on Sharepoint. It's like kind of like a mini, easy to use Sharepoint. So we built out the Teams pages Sharepoint sites and then linked them as tabs to the top. So as each week progressed in their training, a new tab would become available. We'd post, we'd let them know. And within that tab, we built out the Sharepoint site. So it'd be like, all right, here's what you're going to be watching today. Here's your video module. And then as they scroll down, underneath every video module was a Microsoft Forms knowledge check. So we were able to like very quickly collaborate with the learners, see if maybe they weren't resonating on certain things that we were teaching them. I mean, after just a few short weeks, it was like, oh man, week 1, question number 5, nobody got it right. Is it a bad question? Or did we not teach it effectively? So then we're able to kind of like double check ourselves. So this was a very cool thing that I think the entire team did an awesome job with. Now, customizable workspaces can seem a little bit intense, like where do I start? You don't even have to start anywhere. When you click to create a team, Microsoft Teams has done its due diligence and like really put together a good wheelhouse of different workspaces for different things. Like if you want to make a Teams page just for a project, you can. If you want to make it to onboard employees, you can. And if you scroll down, they get super intense. There's one for restaurant staffing, which adds like a timekeeping app into it. So it puts its own channels in there that it recommends based off of like the core feature, but then it also adds different apps that it thinks you can maximize on based on that need. So pre-formatted teams, love it. And the next up is integrations. So if you're building out that environment, tying different things to it, like I showed you, we put Power BI in that. We've got Microsoft Tasks that we put in that. There's a couple other integrations that I want to show you. First and foremost is praise. Praise is wonderful. So you want to just tell somebody good job. I mean, honestly, anybody in a leadership role should have a cadence for showcasing and like spotlighting the good things that their team is doing. So I highly recommend praise. You can see here's an example of one that I sent to one of the colleagues that I have. This feature is wonderful and it's super easy to find. Down on the bottom where you make a post in any environment. So like this one, for example, I put in our Teams chat. But you could put it in a Teams channel as well. Like it doesn't matter where it goes. This does seem like of the features that I'm going to share with you, this one is definitely one where it's like shout it from the rooftops, post it where everybody can see it. So like I would put this, tell people good job in any Teams channel that had like a ton of people in it, because I just want them to be a little embarrassed, but also feel the love. So down there on the bottom, there's like a little award. That is how you access praise. And it pops open this very easy to customize feature where you can put in the employee's name. You can type in a cool title like, oh, achiever, congratulations. There's a 500 character limit, personalized note so that you can make a genuine compliment out of it and post it for them. And then you're able to like, if you like this, you're able to pick the color. I like that part. And then once you've got all those features in there, you can set it up to post. what's also really nice is you can add it to the left panel of your screen, or on any of your previous praises, you can click review your praise history. And this is really cool because it'll take you into this space where you can see everybody that you've praised, which is great because you also want to be fair about your praise. So it's like, oh man, you know what? It's giving me recommendations over here for Rafi. I've never said good job to Rafi. Like, I think I actually kind of owe him a good job. He might have to get some praise here soon. So it gives you recommendations, shows you who you've done. And if you want to build a habit about telling your people good job, which is such a good habit, you can set it to remind you to put praise in on a regular basis. So this feature to me is just like, oh, the bee's knees. So good and good for your team. Next up is approvals. So this is one that my team played with very little. So my example is kind of dull, but this is one that like it's stayed on my mind because I'm like, we could do so many things with this. So I'll show you kind of like how it works. Marcel opened up approvals and posted it here. So you can see he shared a document and he shared it with our whole GOAT team and was like, hey, is this good to go? Now making an approval or posting an approval is super easy. In the 3 dots, you can click select approvals and then it'll open it up and make it, part of the bottom. Now approvals, you can put in your type, what's the name of the request, who are the approvers, and then this feature, just note this, require a response from all recipients. So if you toggle this over, you can make sure that every person who has access to this approval that gets sent has to say yes. And this is kind of nice because sometimes things get bottlenecked and you want to know where that is and maybe coach so you can get traction on what you need. And this allows you to do that. I'll show you. So you can see here, I've added approvals to my side panel, kind of like I mentioned. You could do that with any of the features that we've talked about. So when you click on approvals, everything that you've pushed out as like an approval, you can see in like a master list, and it's also in chronological order. So you can see like when. And this is something that directly integrates with like Adobe Sign or DocuSign. So you can tag those into this as well, which is super beneficial if that's like a big thing. So here you can see like request title. As we scroll over, this got approved. The source of it is approvals, when it was created, who sent it, who's the audience it was sent to. And when you click on any of those line items, you can see the audit trail for that approval. So I mentioned the bottlenecks, right? Like those people holding you up. So this one we posted and we did not toggle over that require by all people who got it. So we only needed one person to say it's good to go. And then it was marked as approved. So if we didn't do that, then it would have required a response from every single person and you would see that in a lineup. Super helpful. So I like approvals. I'm probably going to gear that up big time this year. Now, Starbucks this is typically like a surprise for some because like, what do you mean Starbucks? Starbucks is a third-party integration that is fantastic. So I like telling people good job. I like bribing people with coffee anytime, any chance I could get. So this is really exciting. If you have a Starbucks account, you can click to add it to the bottom. And then all Teams does is it will prompt you to log into that Starbucks account. And then you can pick a cool gift card that you want to send to somebody. So like Kimberly, she's the one who was in the bathroom earlier. She did a fantastic job helping me with this presentation. So you know what? I couldn't do it without her. I'm going to pick that one. So I got it for Kimberly. And gift amount. I'm going to give her a little message. You see that? Never going to give you up. It's fine. All right. So I've got her little message. I'm going to go ahead and send it into the chat. And what it does is it posts in the chat between Kimberly and I that I sent her a gift card. So I mentioned praise was like shouted from the rooftops, great job. Whereas Starbucks seems more intimate to me. Like I don't know if I would be putting in a group chat that I'm only giving this person like a gift card, because maybe that's not something you could do regularly. Like, you never know. So I do like Starbucks for like more intimate thank yous. Like, hey, awesome job filming yourself in your bathroom with the coolest shower curtain I've ever seen. That's what I gave Kimberly. So Starbucks is really fun. Oh, one quick thing about Starbucks. I'm going to show you this. When you add Starbucks to a chat, it does let the person know. So like a couple Christmases ago, I was sending some Starbucks gift cards to some of the zone managers that were helping me on different projects. And I had put one in this guy Ryan's chat, and I added Starbucks, but then I got distracted. I did something else, and I was like, oh, it's fine, I'll do it later. And then at like 11 o'clock at night, I get a message from Ryan. He's like, what the heck is Starbucks doing here? And I'm like, oh no, I'll just send him the gift card now. Like stop, drop, serve, go get it. So if you do this and you're adding it for the first time, definitely make sure you have time to send the gift card after, so then it's not weird and they're not like, what are you doing? Why is Starbucks spying on me? They're not. I'm just trying to celebrate you. So a couple others that I do feel like people are super passionate about. People love Poly. I don't like Poly. But people love Poly. Like they think that's like one of the top integrations. I'm not a fan. I do think that you can use Microsoft Forms for polling. It's a little bit more clunky, but it's the same result. However, people really like it. So if you want to check out Poly for polling, you can. But Kahoot, so we do pay for Kahoot, and I'm going to tell you, it is worth every penny because it integrates into Teams. And I talked about Teams as an environment. We could make Kahoots for like that franchise training program, and Kahoot like manages itself once you've built the Kahoot or built the quiz out, and you can post it into the channel. You give it the time frame that you're going to run the Kahoot, and it automatically like 50% of the time. So I want it to be, this is going to be posted today, and then 4 days from now is when I'm going to close this Kahoot out. Well, 2 days from now, it's going to post, heads up, everybody, don't forget about your Kahoot, like all these cute little like, yay, Kahoot things. And it posts it on the channel, and then it posts the results on the channel for you. So like it does so many cool things just automatically. I definitely like Kahoot as an integration. Very, very fun. And a different spin up if you're like, oh, I put Kahoots in all my regular, virtual meetings like all of us do, but, I never thought to put it on a Teams page. Well, then, boom, there you go. Now, Teams meetings have gotten super wild. Like even since I presented this in Seattle, there's already been like a new feature for this that I tried to add in what I could about it without taking too much time. But for the most part, I'm going to fixate on live events and webinars. So Teams offers now 4 types of meetings, but the core 3 are just a traditional Teams meeting, a webinar, and a live event. Now, on the carrot for a new meeting, this is how you can generate a different type of meeting. So you can pick a regular one, live event, webinar, and then that new one that I mentioned, that's a virtual appointment. And I played with it a little bit. It definitely seems one that is catered to inviting external users into your Teams environment or into like a Teams meeting. So I do like where it's going with that. So virtual appointments, more things to come. But today we're going to talk about those live events, because I think live events and webinars are really, really wonderful. You can have, you can host a live events like with a presentation and supporting documents for up to 10,000 people. Okay, that's just fantastic outreach. Now, I don't know if you have access to 10,000 people or not, but this is definitely something that will put you over the edge. So here you can see I'm going to give it a title. Like this is going to be the live event, which will curate an invitation that gets sent to all the users' emails that I add to this. And just like a traditional meeting, you can put in your details, you can add documents. Now over here, you can invite people and give them certain titles. So you can see I'm added on this as a producer, but I can add more people into this as collaborators, and then I can add people as like participants. So this is really helpful, and I'll show you why in a minute. You do get to set permissions for this. So maybe I only want my organization to have access to this, or maybe I want this to be a live event, or maybe I want to do this webinar on Microsoft Teams, not in Zoom. I want to do it on Microsoft Teams. You could do that too via Teams. Nope, I'm just teasing, sort of. So how do you want to produce your live event? You could put it directly in Teams, or you can have it filtered through, like if you've got super schmancy fancy equipment, you could do that as well. So there's that option. I'm going to go ahead and schedule it. And then here is my invitation, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, when you're in that live event environment, as the people who are like, I'm the producer, I can add in the other moderators, the people who are going to help me facilitate this event. you can also queue up content, which I think is very, very helpful. So like I can add content. So where, maybe I'm presenting right now, but then I'm going to have Kimberly suit up next, and she's going to share her content for like the document that we're going to showcase. And then I'm going to have Jacob go next, and he's got a website pulled up, which references the materials that we're talking about, the other two things. And on the back end, I am queuing these things up to get them ready for the event. So like it looks to the people who are participating very, very seamless. So go ahead and start the live event. I like that it tells you like, hey, heads up, there's going to be a 10 to 20 second delay. So that's, I don't know, that's kind of nice to know. But then once you're live, you can start filtering through that content and like you're ready to rock and roll in your live event. And just like an event here, we can end the meeting and shut it down for everybody and done. Boom, your live event is over and you've got this fabulous recorded piece of training content, and everybody was able to be there and participate. Now, depending on which meeting you select, the collaborative features can be turned off or are non-existent. So I definitely recommend checking out on the training document what we've got for live events, because it breaks down total users and what features are enabled or disabled for certain parts of it. Now, security and compliance. Let's get into the deep stuff. With this it's not really that deep, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to show you, that I did show you already, that may or may not exist in your Microsoft Teams environment. So like Microsoft Teams, there's also one admin to rule them all, and what they say goes. So if that person decides that you can't have a certain feature, then it will not be there. So what I showed you exists. It's something you can collaborate with your, main Teams admin on. But I'm not really, if you're like, I can't make Teams pages, no joke. There's a setting where you can disable making Teams channels. I was talking to my sister and she was like, because she uses it at one of the hospitals she works at. She's like, I can't, what is it? What do you mean Teams channels? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean Teams channels? Like, it was like a back and forth, but to each their own. So one owner, some have differences. I mentioned the F3 licenses. So depending on the different type of Microsoft license, some features may work a little bit differently than what I've showcased today. So, no worries. Just make sure that that's something that you keep in mind when you're trying new things with Microsoft Teams. But I mean, overall, the security standards in Microsoft Teams it's insane. Even just the ability, like how they filter through links that you get sent into Microsoft Defender to make sure that you're keeping, your environment safe is just wonderful. And more importantly, my favorite part of kind of like the security and compliance, I'm going to tag in analytics into this. Because when we first started making Teams pages, it can be really discouraging, because majority of you could have, look at this, you get 600 users in this Teams, situation, but only 23 posts, and like, look at one day, not even 5 people are maximizing on your Teams channel. So that was definitely something that we had to kind of cultivate, and we are still cultivating with the, Little Caesars where I work. So for example, one of the Teams pages we wanted to like maximize on, the big orange, we started putting posts on there and training content and like spotlighting people. And it was hard because it was like, oh my gosh, there's like 200 people here. We're not getting very much traction. This was in the beginning, the data. And so we had to start like figuring out what the quirks were. Like, for example, if we made a Teams post on like a Thursday or Friday, it was dead in the water. Nobody's looking at it, no hearting it, no thumbs upping it. Like, what the heck is going on? Shame on me. I come from operations. You think this would have been like a like a zinger? Like, I know the answer to this, but it took a little longer than I care to admit. But I'm going to tell you because it's a learning curve. Nobody's looking at their computers on Thursdays and Fridays. Those are like some of the busier days of the week. Why would they be on the computer checking out Microsoft Teams? They need to be making sure that the pizzas are amazing and having incredible service. So like admin days for my business are typically Monday, Tuesday. So when we transitioned some of the posts to Monday, Tuesday, holy smoke, look at it. We started getting much more traction. And then the more we started integrating it into some of our classes and like creating environments for those classes, like every channel started to get more and more, and you learn as you go. Like one of the challenges I put out there for all of the regional trainers that we have was praise. I was like, hey, there are 13 of you. I want every week for the next 13 weeks, you're assigned to posting praise one time. I gave them a date, and for the next 13 weeks, one of them would post praise on the channel each week. And that also helps build traction, because not only did the person who like deserved the good job get the good job that they had earned, but I mean, we were able to get people excited because they wanted to see if it was them that got the good job. So then they're looking at it more. So there's a lot of cool little things that you can maximize on that I showed you today. But I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, because obviously fast paced, this is a lot. Bobby talks super fast. So if I were to give you like what the 3 were, like you're dipping your toe in, what do I play with right from the gate, like right out of the gate? I would say pick praise or Starbucks, because good jobs all around get people excited. Okay. And sharing those, shouting it from the rooftops, love it. And praise definitely does that. Play with the pre-formatted teams. Give that a shot. Scroll in there. Maybe there's something in here where you're like, holy smokes, that's definitely going to fit into what we're working on right now. So give that a try, and then pay attention to the analytics, because I'm honestly, it took maybe 6, I feel like every 3 months I got a new bracket of success when it came to something I was pushing in Microsoft Teams. Like we're a year and a half in, and we've got traction on a channel, and we've got traction in our project, but all of that took all of this time in order to really gear up and be successful with. So just be patient with yourself and maximize on what Teams decides to give you. So I have like spitfired a whole ton. If you have questions, we're going to put my email in the chat. You're more than welcome to email me privately. We could talk. I'm happy to coach. I'm geek out with you on anything Microsoft Teams related. You could put your questions in the chat and we will go through and answer them. But for the most part, I want to say thank you for letting me get wild and crazy. Excited. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Okay, Bobby.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I was going to say, if you want to turn on your camera again, I gave you the permission again. Anyone who's still on, if you do want to ask some questions, I will say there was one question that just came in that said, I can't find the praise button. She was asking if you can show her that, how to do that, but I'm not sure if she's still on now.
Oh, I could do that real quick.
I was not prepared to resume Rick Astley when you did. So I was.
That's fine. That's fair. I put it in there to make myself laugh.
It's definitely a fun way to end.
Yeah. And no, praise is super easy. Let me go ahead and slide that over. So really quick, can you confirm that you see my screen?
I cannot see your screen, although it does look like somebody put in an answer when you were in the chat feature. It is the little award looking icon under the type a new message.
Oh, yes, the little award icon under the message. Absolutely right. Whoever that is, great job. Get yourself like a candy bar or something. Heck yeah.
And somebody else just asked, where are the analytics? Where are the analytics were found? Where were the analytics found?
Oh, perfect. That I might have to explore a second because it's been a minute since I went in there. But I'm going to go Teams. And then there's my GOAT channel. Manage team. And I'll show you as well. Let me get this on. Screen 1, share. All right, it's right in the center. You got it now, right?
Yes, now I see.
All right, perfect. I'm not good at Zoom. I'm very good at Teams. So let's see. So my GOAT channel, I'm going to go to manage channel, manage team. Yeah, manage channel. So once you click on the 3 dots, manage channel, and then it'll give you channel settings and then analytics. And then you're able to put in like up to 90 days and then see like the engagement, and it gives you like this cute little bar graph. And it's nice because then you can correlate those dates with things that you've posted or done or had them participate in on the channel.
Someone also said praise is also available in Viva Insights app.
Oh, it is. That's a good one. Okay, so I have not explored Viva Insights as much, but I do love that it's like, hey, here's your collaborators and the reminders that it puts in there. Like it's set, it'll tell you, like, it'll be like, hey, you told Paola you were going to send her this document like 2 days ago. I'll be like, heck yeah, I did. I got to do that right now. Yo, Viva Insights is a really useful tool. That's the next thing I really want to dive into. It's another feature that you can add onto this panel in Teams as well.
Okay, so I think that will wrap it up. Thank you so much, Bobby. I really appreciate it. We've got some great comments in here, and this will all be the recording will be on the website by the end of the day, along with the link if anyone missed the link in chat.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.